right? Think about this. Let's say we go back to music. Music is a power. If you study mythology and you study the ancient Greek mythology, where music comes from, it comes from a god. A specific god created music and gave it to the man. So what does that say? It's a spirit. It's a god. And so if that god gave the music to the man, what's the man doing? He's clearly not inventing music because that's the god. So he's learning to tune himself, tune his nervous system, and tune his movements to the frequency of the God, so he can become a channel of that spirit. And the more he removes himself, that means quote unquote his ego, his false persona, or not even that, anything that is not in tune with that God, the more he removes it, the more he's a conduit, a better conduit for that spirit, which means, well, imagine what kind of sound comes out of that dude. It was that God communicating to the people through him. So any person who's listened to music and has been touched by music in a deep way will clearly understand. You say it's not from this world. Stairway to Fucking Heaven, which is, in my humble opinion, the best rock and roll song ever. Not even, there's so many awesome songs, but this one is just at a whole other level. And my homeboy, the same guy I told you about with the guitar, he gave me an album when they were playing it live. I don't remember. It's an album. It's so fucking good. It's like, this is not normal. It's not human. It's obvious. It is so not human. And you can literally, if you close your eyes and you feel it, you'll see a thunderbolt coming down from somewhere you may not know into fucking Jimmy Page as he's fucking playing the guitar. It's fucking ridiculous. It's obvious. No fucking moral can come up with that. So it means that a higher aspect of the mind, if you feel more comfortable with that, is illumined, and Jimmy Page is a conduit, or became a conduit for that. Which would explain that why these fuckers are always fucked up and always take drugs, and imagine that intensity that goes through his nervous system, how he feels after. Everything after that is going to be boring, and he can't stop himself. He doesn't know how to ground it. He doesn't know how to stabilize it. And it's rock and roll, which means it's not sattvic, meaning pure. It's quite the opposite. It's pure rajas. It's pure fire. It's rajas mixed with tamas. Anyways, let's not get into that. He's going to just... He's wired. You understand what I mean? So they're going to take some kind of drugs to kind of depress their system, to kind of slow the fuck down, to just like, wait a minute. Calm themselves down. They're going to self-medicate. It's not the point. Here's the point. Every art form has an entity, a power that is at the head of it. And if you don't understand that, it sounds too funny. Let's say there's an intelligence to it. And the master is the person who learns to embody that intelligence. And by intelligence, I mean a power. And become a conduit. And the training, what he's actually doing, he just doesn't know, and that's the difference between an expert and a beginner. The expert knows what he's doing when he's training, and the beginner doesn't know. So the beginner is trying to repeat a technique. The expert is no longer trying to repeat a technique. He's learning to remove himself so that the flow can pass through him. And he's seeing where there's blockages in the expression of the flow. For example, my right hip, my shoulder, my finger doesn't jump fast enough because there's a twitch, because something is blocked in my shoulder and the nerves aren't allowing it to pass fast enough. So how can I remove the restriction so that my fingers can express that sound? That's the difference between an expert and a pro, is that the expert understands that I'm removing myself from the way of that intelligence or that flow so that it can pass through me seamlessly.